This is the Conscious Hour. And being born and raised in Seattle, my favorite place to go for my birthday was to Chinatown to eat Chinese food. I didn't like American food. And my dad used to go down there and off work sometimes and play mahjong. And so I always loved going to sit in the Chinese restaurant, eat food, and listen to them talk. Ended up getting in the windsurfing business and did business in Taiwan and Hong Kong. I've always had Chinese friends, and I've always amazed at the teachings that they learned when they were young. Nothing like we learned. We didn't learn the moralities and the ancient teachings of our culture. We learned how to be indoctrinated and to accept what we were being taught. We didn't get educated, we got indoctrinated. And now Israel is showing the world who they truly are. The U.S. is showing the world who we truly are, that we're the war machine. We're really just gladiators going around bashing into other countries to steal their resources. But there's a much better way. It's called unity. It's called bringing the world together. And that's what China's been doing with the Belt Road Initiative. Most people don't even know what China has. You should go take a trip to China and see what they have. It would make you really upset about where our tax dollars went and where their money went. Instead of going in invading countries, they invested in their country. And then they invested in other countries called the Belt Road Initiative. But let's see what they're saying about what we're going to do about the U.S. and Israel constantly creating more danger for the world.
This war need to be stopped immediately. Now, this is actually very strong support of China for the people of Iran. China is not standing on the sideline. China is really condemning this war of aggression against Iran. That's number one. Number two is that I personally hope sooner or later, and the sooner the better, China can play a role, especially between Iran and the United States, to do some mediation and good offices, for example, to make sure that this war is brought to an end. But on the other hand, I think what the United States has been doing, especially on September the 28th, launching this war of aggression, killing so many top leaders in Iran in the midst of an ongoing negotiation, is really destroying the trust that the United States may still have. And I think...
So imagine that. You're doing negotiations, yes, they were, and all of a sudden, the U.S. does a strike on the negotiators. Now, where did that come from? It came from Pete Hegseth, musclehead. Now just strike them. We don't want a settlement. It came from Netanyahu. We don't want a settlement. Look what they did to the Palestinians. You don't even know what's going on there. That just dropped off the whole news cycle. Back to this. This is the Conscious Hour. That's why it's really important to tune into the Conscious Hour, because I surf the net, I surf the web, I surf at all the news and bring it to you in bite-sized pieces so you can understand, one, what's the problem? Two, how do we get out of it? And three, let's fix the problem. Let's go back to this conversation. It's really interesting.
For the moment, there is probably no single iota of trust in Iran for the United States. So how can Iran being convinced that it's still worthwhile to start negotiation with the United States? So I think we need to look at the situation and put everything back to square one. That is, the United States need to hold itself out as a country with responsibility, with trustworthiness, rather than a country really at wanton, trying to, pretend to be negotiating with a country while really launching a war of aggression against the other country. So I think the burden of the proof is on the United States to restore the minimum amount of trust that will be necessary for this negotiation to be started between the United States and Iran. I think China will be happy and willing to do whatever it takes to make sure that eventually peace will be restored, war will be stopped, and sanity will come back. And I personally don't think the American people are enemies of the Iranian people, and President Trump should acknowledge that this should be the megatrend of our time. To use war against Iran will not achieve peace. It will destroy peace, and it will really cause huge repercussions on the United States itself, as well as huge disaster for mankind as a whole. I think the prolonging this war will result in three major crises. One is the energy crisis, which is happening as we speak. Secondly, it will lead to a major global economic crisis. Thirdly, it will result in one of the most important, largest scale, and possibly unprecedented financial crisis in human history. We are on the brink of the convergence of these three crises: energy crisis, economic crisis, and the financial crisis. And the only way to avert this is to bring this war to an end. So it is in the court of the United States and Israel to stop the war right away.
And what we really need to do is fire Pete Hegseth. He needs to be tried and convicted of war crimes. First step, get rid of Pete Hegseth. Then you could get a cool head in there that would say, you know, Donald, you're going to win this thing, and you're just going to get more blowback, and it's going to create more chaos in the world. And is that what you really want? And now, by the way, Jared Kushner and your $40 billion future city there, sit down, shut the fuck up. You don't get to rebuild it. The international community gets to rebuild it. You don't have any right because you're a killer. You support this thing. You have killed more than 1 million Palestinians. Yes, folks, I'll announce that number right now. 680,000 Francesca Albanese released in December. Wasn't picked up in the press. Prior to that, on August 26th, Netanyahu, in a BBC radio announcement, in a conversation they were recovering from him, he said, quote, that we, yes, 1.1 or 2.1 million Palestinians need to leave. That's what he said. And I said, where are those 2.1 going to go? They're going to go into the sea? And then in December, I think it was like the 16th of December, he came out and announced that 1.1 million Palestinians have to leave. Francesca Albanese is 680. 1.1 equals 1 million people, innocent families, mothers, brothers, cousins, uncles, grandfathers, assassinated. And do you think the Western media is going to show you that? No. That's how controlled we are in the United States. You don't get to hear the facts. They keep you down because they don't want you to stop their game. And their game is the expansion of Zionism around the world, control the United States, control the other region. That's what their goal is. It needs to end. Or the world in that area will end. Now, I'm not joking. If they launch a nuclear weapon, if Israel pulls a nuclear weapon out of their hat, the whole region is gone. And right now, Iran is bombing all of the strategic targets in the area to neutralize it. And they're prepared to go even further in the amount of destruction, but they're still just waiting. Maybe there's a chance for a peace agreement. But considering our administration, the Rubios and the Hegseths and just the war machine inside the U.S., I don't think it's achievable. I hope I'm wrong. I truly do. Because what comes next, pardon the expression, is going to fuck it up for everybody. Yep. Because of a bunch of greedy Westerners who think they can control the world. This is the Conscious Hour. Thanks for tuning in. Do me a favor, hit the like and share button, and please donate. It's time I get some cash flow coming in here. I'd like to hire somebody to come in to do some more professional editing, and I'd like to do some more marketing, and I've been spending all my money for the last 2.5 years, which I don't really care about money. I'm not a money person. I've always had enough money to get by and travel and do what I need to do. But what I'm trying to do right now is create heaven on earth. Love you all. Tune into the Conscious Hour. Thanks.